All right, PGA Championship in the books, and Brooks Koepka won. Third major, 2 this year. He is something, and Dick Groat is very proud of him. Great nephew. And the thing about him that I like, Chris Mueller, is the fact that he is not afraid of anything out there. In fact, I think that's Tiger Woods' biggest problem right now. Tiger's proven he's back, but I still say what I said many years ago. He's not going to win another major, in my opinion, because I don't think he can deal with these young guys, because there's so many of them, and somebody always jumps up to the front of the class. What's your take on Tiger, and will he win a major again?
I mean, it's awfully impressive that he's done what he's done. He moves the needle, no doubt. I wouldn't argue any of those things, how impressive the comeback is just from all he's been through and that he moves the needle. But I don't think he wins another major. These guys are great athletes, okay? Better athletes than he probably was in his prime. And there's no fear factor. He's something of a victim of his own success. Like, everyone talks about, oh, well, Tiger didn't putt well, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, or else he would have won. He didn't win because every time he made a move, Koepka stared him down with something better. Hits a laser beam 245 yards to birdie 16 when nobody's thinking of that as a birdie hole. I could list Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas. There's about
Day,
4 or
Rory
5.
McIlroy,
Jason Day. There's Rory McIlroy if he gets it together. Molinari, who won the Open Championship. There are several, if not 10 or more players on tour right now who don't have the fear factor. And more importantly, forget about all that because it's intangible. They're going to make Tiger beat them. And a 64 wasn't even enough because Koepka shot a smooth 66. That's his biggest problem.
I don't know. Like, I'm a Tiger guy. I have been for 20 years. I'm 18 months older than he is. I view him as sort of the athlete of our generation. I don't know if Paul feels the same way. I'm rooting for him mostly because, you know, I wanted to see a 40-year-old guy go kick some millennials at butts. No offense, Chris. But for me, look, I think the field is deeper. You're right. The field is much deeper now than it was when Tiger was in his prime, when he was beating guys like Glenn Day in the PGA Championship in 2000. Okay, I mean, I get that. That being said, my wife had one of the procedures that Tiger had, and to think that she is not the same person she was physically before that surgery. Tiger's had 4 of those procedures. For him to get back here is remarkable. So I'm not going to say no, he can't do this, because I certainly think that he can.
Oh, boy. Well, first of all those guys that you named, Chris, you know what they all had in common in this tournament? They all finished behind Tiger Woods, which tells you, me that he's got a chance.
That's weird.
He's got a chance.
I thought he won.
No, well, I'm saying all of those guys except for Koepka.
All it takes is one, though, Paul.
Yeah,
all it takes is one.
But my point is, he was there. He was right there. He started today minus 4 down. He gave himself a shot. He was never actually tied. He was never there, but he was very close. To me, that tells me he's going to have a chance. If you're finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th in these majors, you're going to have a shot to win it. Here's the other thing. Wait, here's the other thing. One of the greatest myths ever, is this stuff about the fear factor of other golfers on the tour.
No,
there wasn't a fear factor when he was great.
It was
very real. You know why he won every time?
It was very real,
Because he was better than them.
It was very real.
He was better than them.
What ever stared him down?
Hold up. Let me ask you this, Bob. If there was this great fear factor, right, how come he never came from behind and won in a major?
That's
I mean, you would think if he made a run on a Sunday and there was a fear factor, at least once somebody would have fell apart and lost.
Ernie Els would have won if not for Tiger Woods. They could not get by him. He was the only one. And you mentioned Brad May, all these people who were jabronis who weren't going to challenge him.
If there was this fear factor, he would have come from behind at least once, wouldn't he? Over what, 50 majors he's played or whatever it's been? He'd have come from behind at least once. He never has. The fear factor is a myth.
By the way, it was Bob May that he beat in 2000, and it was Sergio and Phil and all these ballers out there. He was beating a bunch of bums or guys that weren't ready yet, and now he's got to deal with real baller golfers who aren't afraid of him and who are flat out better than him.
Koepka's so boring. Koepka,
he's boring. He just went out there and massacred
golf tanning laundry.
Oh, how boring it is that a guy shoots 66 and flexes.
He doesn't even like golf, which
they're better than him.
People like us.
They're better than him because they're 12, 15 years younger than him.
And we'll be back with more right after this on KDKA-TV. Thanks for watching.